Hey guys, it's Kira and welcome to another What I Eat in a Week as a Vegan. This time it's a work week's worth of breakfast, which is quite a mouthful to say, and that is because breakfast is by far my favourite meal of the day, and I would go so far as to just say objectively, regardless of my opinions, breakfast is just the best meal of the day, full stop. I absolutely love it if you can't tell already, and I just feel like it deserves a video all to itself. But I also thought it would be fun to share a week of breakfast because, like I said, this is a work week's worth of breakfast, and that is because since going back to work, and specifically going back to the office after lockdown, I feel like my breakfasts have been getting a little uninspired, and I've certainly not been feeling very motivated when it comes to making breakfast, and more times than I'd care to admit, I've ended up just rushing and eating a bowl of cereal at my desk in the office before the start of work, because I just haven't been prioritising and making time for breakfast when I've been getting back into that swing of a new work routine. But on this week I decided enough was enough, and I was going to make a conscious effort to change that and actually reprioritise and make time for breakfast. So throughout this week you'll see lots of delicious breakfasts and things that I love to start my day with, and it was really nice to get back into that routine of making time to actually start the day with something healthy and satiating and most importantly delicious. So my Monday started out with a bowl of porridge, which is one of my favourite and most common breakfasts because it's super easy but super filling as well. My porridges are always made with oats and chia seeds because I find that combination of some fat and carbs just makes me really full, and also it's great to get those omega-3s in. But I also added in some vegan vanilla protein powder from the brand called Free Soul, which is a really good one. And then on the top of those oats, after cooking them with some oat milk and some hot water in the hob, I added in some bananas, which isn't always my favourite topping for porridge, but on this morning I really fancied it, as well as some frozen raspberries that I'd heated up in the microwave just to get a nice saucy raspberry topping going on, as well as some peanut butter and some maple syrup. So it ended up giving this nice PB&J style, and honestly, look at that bowl of porridge. It's so vibrant and so delicious, and I can't believe looking at this bowl that I spent so many weeks just eating boring brown cereal when I could have been making that every morning. Moving on to Tuesday, I decided to start my day with a smoothie bowl because whilst Monday was a little bit of a chilly day, Tuesday was actually pretty sunny, so I decided to make the most of what might be one of our last sunny and hot days. So I ended up using some frozen bananas, frozen blueberries, frozen cherries, and frozen raspberries, which is quite a lot of frozen stuff because I like my smoothie bowls to be nice and thick, as well as some of that vegan protein powder and a little bit of oat milk. I added in that protein powder because I do find that adding either some protein or fat to smoothie bowls just helps them to be, make me a little bit more satiated and keeps me fuller for longer, whereas when I just have fruit I find that I end up getting hungry again quite quickly. And look at that smoothie bowl, that was such a good texture. I like my smoothie bowls to be super thick and ice creamy in sorbet in their texture. I haven't got any time for thin and watery smoothie bowls because why not just drink it if you're gonna have it like that. I then topped it off with some peanut butter, which is an essential in pretty much every breakfast, and then a little bit too much deliciously Ella granola. I ended up spilling a lot of that onto that bowl, but to be honest, saying that, is there ever really such a thing as too much granola? I genuinely don't think so. And if you just look at that smoothie bowl, the texture was perfect and it was such a lovely start to the day. I genuinely feel like when I'm eating a smoothie bowl, it feels like I'm having a dessert for breakfast, but then when you think about it, it's literally 90% fruit, so you know that even though it tastes incredible and feels like you're eating ice cream, it's actually a really healthy and whole foods focused start to the day, which is always great. On Wednesday, I was a little bit more rushed for time because I was going to a yoga class before work, so I ended up just having some toast. We had some of this Marks & Spencer's handcrafted sourdough left in the cupboard from our dinner the night before, so I just popped 3 slices of that in the toaster, and honestly, sourdough is such a delicious start to the day. It might not necessarily be the most whole foods focused, but I don't really feel like every single meal has to be always about whole foods, and sourdough is just so good. It also keeps you nicely satiated pretty much all the way through the morning. I feel like I'm saying satiated quite a lot throughout this video, but that is a key thing that I focus on when it comes to breakfast, because I find that when I take the time to make a good and filling breakfast, I'm less likely to snack on biscuits and things when I'm in the office at work throughout the morning. So I ended up having 2 slices with peanut butter and strawberry jam and 1 slice just with peanut butter, and I also served that alongside a cup of tea which I made, which was just an English breakfast tea made with oat milk and also a spoonful of sugar, and that was such a delightful breakfast, a really nice midweek treat. And then moving on to Thursday, it was time for another smoothie bowl. This time I went for a green smoothie bowl, so we started off with a base of frozen bananas, which is key to all of my smoothie bowls, then some frozen mango, some frozen pineapple and some good old greens. We had a handful of spinach and also a handful of kale. I then added on some cinnamon, which is essential to every green smoothie bowl for me. It just tastes so incredible. And then this time I used orange juice as my liquid, which just adds a really nice like refreshing and like citrusy vibe, which is nice. And then that went straight in the blender, ready to get nice and blendy, and it came out absolutely incredibly. It was just like the smoothie bowl I had on Tuesday, super thick and super like ice creamy in texture. As you can see there, it was just absolutely incredible. And in terms of toppings, I did the exact same as I did on Tuesday as well. So I popped that all into a bowl. Absolutely delicious. Honestly, just kind of want a smoothie bowl right now, even though I'm filming this audio at night time and it's not really smoothie bowl o'clock, but I could definitely go for one. And then yeah, we had our peanut butter and the granola, which I think I managed to control slightly better this time. It didn't all fall out of the pack onto the top of the smoothie bowl. But as always, I served that alongside a cup of tea. Here we are making a cup of tea because I realised that it got to Thursday and I hadn't actually filmed myself making a cup of tea, which is an essential part of every single morning. So I can't really have a breakfast what I eat in a week without showing the full process of making a tea, because tea is just so key to, let's be honest, every meal, but especially breakfast. And that was my Thursday morning breakfast. And on Friday, I decided to make myself a little bit more of a treat style breakfast. I had a little bit more spare time, so I decided to make pancakes. I started out with some buckwheat flour and also some vegan chocolate protein powder. This one was the Ritual protein powder from Vivo Life, which is another protein powder brand that I really like. I just mixed all of that together, just getting rid of any clumps. And then to add in the liquid, I was using oat milk as always, because that's literally just whatever I have in. So I added in oat milk a little bit at a time until I had a nice smooth pancake mixture. I usually make my pancake batter quite thick, but on this morning I actually decided to make it a little bit thinner because I wanted to be able to make the pancakes kind of thin so I could go for a full stack of pancakes, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat a giant stack of thick pancakes, but I wanted that pancake stack aesthetic, so I made the pancake batter a little bit thinner so I could make it go a little bit further. So there we have a nice delicious looking pancake batter. It kind of looks like cake batter and I kind of want to eat it just as it is. And then I also added in a little bit of vegan vanilla protein powder. No, that's a lie. I added in vegan vanilla protein yogurt just for a little bit of sweetness and extra flavour at the end of that pancake batter. And then once that was all deliciously combined and honestly looked just incredible, I mean, look at that, it was ready to go in the pan. So I ended up making 6 pancakes altogether. Like I said, they were quite thin and I spread that batter out nicely, popped 3 on at a time because I only have so much space in the pan, and I just let them cook. If you're not familiar with how pancakes work, you just want to cook them until you start seeing bubbles in the surface of the first side, and then you flip them over and they should look delicious and golden just like that. So I ended up doing that twice because I had 2 sets of 3 pancakes. I clearly am not a good counter, but I am a good pancake maker, so I guess it's okay. I then stacked them all up, and that pancake stack aesthetic was exactly what I was going for. It was just absolutely incredible. Despite trying to make an effort to not make too many, I still ended up making far too much and didn't quite manage to finish them all, but I topped it off with some more of the frozen raspberries that I just heated up in the microwave to make a nice raspberry sauce. And just like with the porridge, we also added on some maple syrup because you just can't have pancakes without maple syrup. I had a cup of tea to go along with that, and that was honestly definitely one of my breakfast highlights of the week. It was just absolutely incredible. You can never go wrong with pancakes, I don't think. And I mean, the main reason I wanted to do a stack was so that I could do one of these cutting into the pancake stack shots, and it was so worth it because it looks so aesthetically pleasing when you have this giant stack of pancakes. I mean, would you look at that? Definitely worth it. Absolutely delicious. And then, although this was a work week of breakfast, on Saturday morning after teaching 2 yoga classes, I came across a vegan donut pop-up at a local cafe by a brand called Project D, and I just had to show these donuts because look at them. They were just too good not to show, and I ended up actually having the lotus biscuit donuts, which you can see there on the screen, in my Saturday morning breakfast because I just couldn't resist it, so I guess it does still count for this video. And that is all of the breakfast that I ended up eating this week, so I really hope you've enjoyed hearing about all of the delicious foods that I got, and I hope that maybe if you've been lacking in inspiration as well, like I was, you've maybe found some inspiration for some breakfast for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.